All right, let's talk about the GoG eXTCy. Okay. People have been asking about this gun and want to know what I thought of it. Okay. GoG eXTCy. The first one I got out of the box, the detents weren't installed properly on the one that I had. So if you watch one of the videos, one of the first videos I had some rollout issues. And basically what it was they took the Vibe Blackheart and then they kind of upgraded the Vibe Blackheart into the eXTCy. Okay, lots of upgrade parts, lots of different stuff they did on here. But one of the things they did was they went from the standard rubber detents that are on the G1 and also on the Vibe, and they went to like a plastic detent, you know, a plastic spring-loaded detent. So the only thing about that is if you don't install them absolutely perfectly, the detent will stick. Okay, so if you're just off just a little bit because they're kind of flat, you know, kind of flat-sided. If you're off just a little bit when you install it, then the detent may be stuck all the way in the rearward position when you tighten it down, and then you're just going to get rollout. So but once you got, if they're installed properly, there's no problem. So let's talk about some of the mini upgrades that they did from the Vibe Blackheart to this one. Basically, you get a longer barrel, and this actually is a nice barrel. Okay, it's not like the old Ion barrel where, you know, you look down it and you can just see it looked like, you know, somebody honed it with a Brillo pad. Okay, this is actually a very shiny, nicely honed barrel. Now I wouldn't put it up there with, like, you know, the honing of an ultralight barrel or a CP barrel or anything like that. But actually on the inside, it's got a pretty good finish to it. So probably on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being amazing and, you know, 1 being the stock Ion barrel, I'd probably put that maybe at about a 5 or a 6. So it's a pretty decent barrel. And it's also got some decent length to it. So it's going to make it a little bit easier to point when you're out there on the field, and also like bunker manipulation and stuff like that. So remember, longer barrels don't really make a gun more accurate, but it does make it easier to point. So when you're looking down the field, you see that longer barrel, it makes it easier to point at whatever your target is. Also comes with a pretty nice trigger. It's still the same breakaway magnet design as before, so the further you pull the trigger, the weaker the spring tension gets. But it's got a nice trigger on it. I mean, it kind of looks like, you know, if you look at like the machine vapor trigger, that's pretty much what you got on here. You know, I mean, it's plastic, it's a $250 gun. It's got a screw on the side here, so it's easy to remove the trigger pin if you needed to take it out. Another thing that I really liked about it too is it's got a huge on-off button on the side here, and it's a nice, easy tap on, you know, hold off, on off button. Really nice on off button. Also, it's got a nice clamping feed neck, so you know, it's a metal ring all the way around. It's not like a plastic one like what you get on some of the Protos and stuff like that. It's a metal ring, so it's going to hold on to your loader really well. And you know, it's got all the fire modes of the Blackheart board, which is great. Okay, the Blackheart board has got some amazing fire modes. It's got one of my personal favorite ones for woods ball, which is the select fire. So you can turn it on, it's in semi-auto, tap the button, it goes to 3-shot, tap the button, it goes to full auto, tap it again, it goes back into semi-auto. It's an awesome mode for woods ball or for scenario play. One of the things that I don't particularly like about it is the regulators are, once again, we're getting into these regulators that are not user serviceable. Okay, you've got to get snap ring pliers in order to get this thing apart, and you've got to get some pretty small ones. You are not going to find this at an automotive store. You're going to have to hop onto eBay and pick yourself up like some like .020 snap ring pliers to get in here to get this thing apart. I mean, you're talking about some seriously tiny snap ring pliers you need to get this thing apart. You know, like I said, don't waste your time going to Home Depot. Don't waste your time going to Pet Boys or anything like that. If you really want to get this reg apart, you're gonna have to get on eBay, spend about 20 bucks to get a complete snap ring plier set in order to get the regulator apart. But let's go ahead and go out and do a quick efficiency test on it. We'll come back, basically take apart the only thing, which is the bolt, talk about a couple upgrades really quick, and then finish up the conclusion. All right, we're gonna do the efficiency test on the eXTCy, and it looks like we're probably sitting about 4,200 PSI. Okay, and it's actually it's pretty cool out here, so the tank is pretty cool also. Okay, so we got it sitting at about 293 was the last reading, so almost 8 pods. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take apart the pretty much the only used or serviceable part here, which is the bolt. Now, one of the common questions you're gonna get, especially people that they buy a budget gun, I want to upgrade it. What should I get for it? Okay. Inside of here, I was messing around. I've used the stock bolt for a long time. I was messing around with the fire bolt and didn't really notice any sort of, that much of a difference between the stock bolt and the fire bolt. Really wasn't much of a difference. But the one bolt, if there was one thing I would say you could upgrade on it besides the barrel, and you can get away with the, an inexpensive CP barrel. CP barrels are made on $300,000 machines. Okay, CP barrels are great barrels. Because they sell for $30 doesn't mean they're trash. They're amazing barrels. So maybe if you want to upgrade the barrel, go to like a CP barrel. But probably the best upgrade that I would recommend for an eXTCy or even a G1 or I was saying Vibe, or now they're called the Envy, is the Tech L7 bolt. I always want to say Tech T, but the Tech T L7 bolt. These things are amazing. Okay, they work great. I've had them in on all of my G1s that I've shot, G1 Blackhearts and my SP1 Blackheart. I've always used the L7 bolt, and it's amazing. Basically, all you do is get into your settings, shut off your first shot drop-off settings because you don't need it. Okay, this bolt will not do first shot drop-off. And you just got to lower your dwell. You got to play with the dwell a little bit. I think usually between 16 and 18 milliseconds usually works pretty good. I've had some guns even go down to 14 milliseconds. So you just got to start at like, maybe 12 or 13 milliseconds. Keep adding a millisecond of dwell until you get a full firing stroke. That's it. Go to the chronograph. But the L7 bolts are amazing. I love the L7 bolts. Really quiet. You barely even feel your gun shoot. And so that would be probably about the only upgrade that I would recommend would be the Tech T L7 bolt. You can go to techtpaintball.com and pick them up, and they're really simple to install. You got a plug that you stick down in here, and then you just stick the bolt in and just tighten it just like you would with the stock bolt. I didn't notice much of a difference with the fire bolt. I know it's hollowed out a little bit more compared to the stock bolt, but I really didn't notice much of a difference at all with the fire bolt. So, I'd hate to say, the fire bolt's a waste of money, but yeah, it kind of is. If you're going to upgrade your bolt, I would recommend go with the Tech T bolt. So I'm just kind of cleaning up some of the mess I've made in this gun already. So, and so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to weigh it. The gun's got a little bit of weight to it. And it's not a bad thing when you're out there shooting with it. you know, a little extra weight always helps reduce kick. Go ahead and tighten that down. Go ahead and bring over the scale. I know a lot of people are just as depressed as I am about the old scale, but I don't know, I had a battery pop in it. So the old yellow scale all of a sudden didn't work one day, and opened up the battery compartment. There was acid everywhere. So just died a terrible, terrible, painful death. So 2 pounds, 4.4 ounces. So 2 pounds, or where's it at now? 2 pounds, yeah, 4.5 ounces. I don't know, it sometimes moves around. Oh, actually, it didn't lock. Hold on one more second here. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. So, okay, so we got the correct weight. You know, so what do I think of the eXTCy? It's a good shooting gun. So, you know, it's got a little bit of weight to it. You know, it's got a pretty decent trigger. I mean, even for semi-auto, it's got a pretty decent trigger. I mean, you definitely want to, you know, mess around with the trigger settings a little bit and, you know, adjust your trigger accordingly. So, you know, you want to feel where the activation point is. You may have to move the trigger slightly forward, slightly back with the screw down here at the bottom. You may have to adjust the stop screw here a little bit, but the eXTCy is a good shooting gun. I mean, it shoots great. It's quiet out there on the field. Not much really to say about it. I mean, the bolt moves back. Bolt moves nice and slow on. I mean, you probably got your rate of fire is probably capped at about 18 balls per second with it, which is kind of a good thing because you know, super fast moving bolts tend to be a little bit more tough on paint, but the gun hardly ever breaks paint. And you know, the one thing also is the regulator uses a lot of the same parts as the Lux regulator. So, you know, you're getting an amazing regulator. You know, basically the same regulator design that's on a $1,500 gun, but you know, for $250, I mean, pick it up. I think you'll really, really like it. You know, if you're on a budget, you know, you could put a, you know, maybe like a 63,000 tank on there, put a decent loader on there, or inexpensive loader on there, and you're ready to go. Even like a Tippmann SSL 200 loader is really all you need for this gun. And, you know, it's gonna shoot just fine. And these guns are built pretty close to bulletproof. And it's pretty hard to, break this gun. So this is all aluminum construction here. You know, the shell of the eXTCy's got kind of this mix of rubber and plastic, but for the most part, you know, there's quite a bit of metal on this gun, and it's, you know, it's a solid shooter. It's definitely a solid budget baller shooter. So, I mean, I would definitely look at picking up an eXTCy over a Tippmann or something like that any day of the week. I mean, you got eyes, you got a nice trigger, you got a regulator, great electronics, amazing board, decent barrel, clamping feed neck, bolt out the back. You know, $250. I mean, you know, you're looking for a budget gun, go pick this up. You know, I think you'll really like it. Thanks for tuning in.